One of the principles of trade unionism is solidarity. So with solidarity in mind, that about 30 years ago, I and a small number of other NIPSA activists lobbied to get set up the then NIPSA Developing World Fund, because we recognised that international solidarity was absolutely crucial, because whilst we in the West are relatively okay in relation to our sustainable living, people in the developing world are striving against almost unmanageable goals every single day, with lack of housing, lack of education, lack of food, lack of sustainable development. So the NIPSA Developing World Fund, which turned into the Global Solidarity Fund, has been a godsend to many people in the world, and we owe them so much. I congratulate everyone involved in the Developing World Fund and the Global Solidarity Committee for the fantastic work that they've achieved so far, and will be with them every step of the way as they continue their work into the future.
On behalf of everyone at Concern Worldwide, I'd like to wish NIPSA's Global Solidarity Committee a very happy 30th anniversary. As you mark this special occasion, it's an opportunity for us to celebrate this milestone with you and reflect on your incredible support for and solidarity with people living in extreme poverty around the world. Over the years, you, through the Global Solidarity and Developing World Fund, have donated tens of thousands of pounds to concerns, appeals and projects, including emergency appeals for Ukraine, Afghanistan, East Africa and Pakistan. With your help, we've been able to deliver life-saving emergency shelter, food, hygiene kits and cash to people caught up in humanitarian crises. You've also supported a livelihoods project in Malawi, working with communities to provide the skills and tools for them to build a better future for their families. On top of that, you've been a valued communications partner for two of our incredible aid match appeals, with the UK government matching public donations pound for pound. Without your help, we wouldn't have been able to have achieved what we did. Our Comeback from Crisis appeal for communities recovering after Ebola in Sierra Leone raised £1.6 million, and our Free from Hunger appeal in the Central African Republic raised £1.84 million. So a huge thank you for your support down through the years, as you have partnered with Concern and the vulnerable communities we work with in our fight to end extreme poverty. Thank you, and a happy 30th birthday from us.
Lucia Collins on behalf of the NIPSA Global Solidarity Committee celebrating 30th year anniversary. Trade unions were banned in Chile from 1973 to 1990, and it was only since the democratic elections which took place in 1993 that the trade union movement was beginning to re-emerge. Mujer v Trabajo, Women in Work, was formed with Oxfam's help in 1985. The Oxfam NIPSA funding of this project provided training for grassroots women workers and helped Chilean women take their rightful place in the re-emergent trade union movement, and that was in 1996. Also in 1996, Integration for People with Disabilities in Bangladesh, NIPSA funded a project with an organisation called Social Assistance and Rehabilitation for the Physically Vulnerable, SARPV, which was set up to help disabled people in Dhaka. NIPSA supported SARPV's campaign to change government policy on pensions so as to enable disabled children of civil servants to receive a pension in the event of their guardian's death. NIPSA also supported them in a major public and government awareness campaign to show how much more disabled people can achieve.
Un saludo fraternal, combativo y muy revolucionario. Felicitaciones a nuestro sindicato irlandés NIPSA por sus 30 años de apoyo global a nuestras luchas a la paz, a los derechos humanos, a la dirigencia sindical. Hoy desde Colombia les habla María Eugenia Londoño Ocampo, secretaria de Género, Inclusión e Igualdad de FECODE, a donde 220.000 mujeres maestras y 118.000 hombres maestros le apostamos a la paz total. La solidaridad internacional debe ser un principio rector para que todos los pueblos del mundo avancemos para que haya justicia social, justicia económica, justicia ambiental. Hoy entonces, desde la Federación Colombiana de Trabajadores de la Educación, FECODE, estamos abrazando a toda la comunidad internacional, a Justicia por Colombia, que juega un papel determinante para que en Colombia, en el contexto del gobierno del cambio, se materialice la paz total y que Colombia, con el poder popular, sea potencia mundial de la vida hasta que la dignidad se haga costumbre. Venga nuestro abrazo, vamos con toda la fuerza y cuenten con Colombia. Que viva NIPSA, sus 30 años y Justicia por Colombia. Abrazo fraterno.
This is Nick McWilliam, Trade Unions Programs Officer at Justice for Colombia. Just wanted to say massive thanks to NIPSA for all your brilliant support for JFC's work over the years to defend human rights and peace in Colombia, and of course huge congratulations on 30 years of the Global Solidarity Committee. Really important work supporting workers' struggles and other important issues around the world. I'm actually in Colombia at the moment. You can probably tell from the sunshine it's not back home. I'm in the city of Cali. We were here just the other day on a delegation of parliamentarians and trade union leaders, where we met with many different people, many different organisations involved in human rights and peace in Colombia. Here was one of the meetings we had here was with young men who'd been locked up for taking part in public protests that were led by trade unions and backed by trade unions a couple of years ago. And we're working hard with organisations here to secure their release because they're very dubious charges. Important campaign we're doing now. There's light at the end of the tunnel in Colombia, new government supported by workers, supported by the pro-peace movement, but with human rights abuses, attacks and killings of trade unionists and social leaders still happening on a very regular basis, our work is just as important as ever. So really hope to continue working with NIPSA, hope to see you in Colombia soon, and of course back home as well. So thanks again, and once again, solidarity to everybody there.
In 2007, the fund featured on BBC Newsline. Noel Thompson reported on how NIPSA had partnered with War on Want at the Songani Orphan Centre in Malawi. As many of the children had been orphaned through HIV/AIDS, the centre not only taught skills such as carpentry and tailoring, but also the vital health and sex education that would be needed to break the cycle of the epidemic. Linda McClelland of War on Want said, "This is what we do best, giving the most disadvantaged a leg up, lifting them out of their poverty and giving them control over their lives." Through this fund, NIPSA is doing its part in shaping a better future for these children.
Hello, my name is Stephen Wood. I am one of the coordinators at Tools for Solidarity, a not-for-profit organisation in Belfast. Our work is fully run by international, local and supported volunteers. We collect unwanted hand tools and sewing machines and refurbish them in our workshops in Belfast and Downpatrick. These are sent to communities, women's groups, people with disabilities and vocational training centres through our projects in Africa. The main focus of our projects is to provide the artisans with the tools that allow them to develop their own businesses, which translates into self-reliance and hope for the future. Okay, what we have here is we have a shipment of tools going to an orphanage in Malawi called the Songani Orphanage Project. In 2007, we set up our first sewing and training centre with our partner SIDO, Small Industries Development Organisation, in Mwanza, in the north of Tanzania. This has been largely self-financing since 2012. In 2016 and in 2018, we started two new projects in Uganda and Ruvuma. which were sadly unsuccessful, but showed us the huge need in neighbouring areas for the provision of high quality second-hand tools for carpentry, blacksmithing, building and furniture making. For that reason, in 2020 we established the Njombe Sewing and Training Centre.
This is our workbench. This is our machineries. This is our sewing machines, knitting machines. We have another toolboard here. We have other sewing machines here. Our services include provision of tools to artisans, provision of machinery, provision of sewing machine, training on sewing machine and tools, and PWD program.
Uzuri wa chama ulolile.
NIPSA have been very generous supporter of our project since 2011, helping with the shipping cost for sending the containers of tools and sewing machines to Tanzania, and their funding through the Global Solidarity and Development World Fund has also represented a substantial contribution to the setting up of costs for the Njombe Tool Centre. As an example, our last shipment, funded by NIPSA, supplied the Njombe Centre and a new artisan support centre that will be established this year in the neighbouring region of Iringa. In this last container, Njombe received 133 sewing machines, 1,219 hand tools, approximately 34 electrical tools and 4 pieces of machinery. The path has not been straightforward, but we are happy to say that our projects are successfully providing the necessary resources and skills for artisans and groups to improve their income generation capacity and to meet the challenges that they face in running small enterprises. In particular, we are very proud of targeting those people within the community who face extra barriers to income generation: women, young people, vocational training centres and people with disability. Tools of Solidarity is extremely grateful for the support of NIPSA over many years. Their contributions have been crucial to our ability to continue running our programmes, and knowing that we have their support is a great encouragement in an often very difficult climate for development work. Tanti Sana, thank you very much.
Conference, Michael Robinson, recently retired NIPSA member and member of the Global Solidarity Committee for some many years. I would commend the Developing World Fund to you because I know personally the great benefit that it has brought to people all across the world actually, and you'll have some reports on that on the various projects that we had dealt with. The Developing World Fund is a unique thing in the union movement. It's a registered charity, and all the funds that are contributed by our members go directly into the projects. There's no administrative fees or any other burdens put on it. The projects themselves are determined by the Global Solidarity Committee, and again I was very happy to sit on that for years. The emphasis that the committee had was given the modest funds we had to put money into projects that would have enduring benefits, such as education campaigns to unionise workers such as quarry workers in Egypt, and some other projects on disability where those benefits will go through a community for generations to come. Given the limited funds, we also did global solidarity activity itself through educating our own members on issues such as trade justice, the refugee crisis, which is greatly in the news. Whether it's a crisis or not, it's called a crisis by the Tory party. So we educated our members as to what refugees were, what their status was. Tax justice is something that is unfortunately still with us because we haven't achieved tax justice. Free trade agreements are still there with Britain leaving the EU and setting trade agreements with the rest of the world. Those are issues that our members need to be aware of and seized of. I would heartily recommend that you contribute to the fund, and if you're interested in global solidarity issues, to get yourself elected onto the committee, and if you see the good work of the committee, you could be a part of that going forward. It's nice to be at conference again, albeit virtually. Thanks for your time. Thank you, comrades.
Our project with Disability Aid Abroad has received international acclaim by the International Labour Organization, who are looking to use the Disability Champions model for their own work in other countries. The project is helping trade unions in Ethiopia to defend and develop the employment rights of workers with disabilities.
In 2009, NIPSA submitted a funding application to the Department for International Development to provide intensive training to NIPSA members in order to build a cadre of 40 global solidarity champions. These champions will build international solidarity structures within NIPSA and play a crucial role in mobilising and educating other NIPSA members to work towards the eradication of global poverty and hunger. Our application was successful and we have 40 NIPSA Global Solidarity champions appointed.
My name is Andrew Traynor and I'm currently a member of the Global Solidarity Committee. In 1996, 3 projects were supported. The first one being community healthcare in Ethiopia, which provided funding to run health clinics for mothers and children to ensure that children's growth was regularly monitored, that immunisations were provided, that mothers were taught about nutrition, and that diarrhea diseases, skin and eye infections, and malnutrition in young children were detected and controlled. The project also provided education in preventative healthcare.
Projects were supported in 2000. One involved the rehabilitation of a school in the Shinyanga region of Tanzania. Another involved an environmental project in Uganda. In addition, funding was provided to help reactivate the Bananas Workers Union in Belize and for the translation into Chinese of a pocket-sized workers' rights guide for distribution to China and Hong Kong.
Hello everyone, my name is Stephen McCluskey. I'm the Director of the Centre for Global Education in Belfast. We're a non-governmental organisation that provides training and resources on international development issues. I want to extend many congratulations to NIPSA on reaching the milestone of the 30th anniversary of the Global Solidarity Committee, a tremendous achievement. Over the past 3 decades, NIPSA has supported a range of programs that have tackled poverty, raised awareness of global issues, and campaigned for equality and justice in many parts of the Global South. The Centre for Global Education has been fortunate to receive funding for 2 programs from NIPSA. Both of these projects provide education for Palestinian refugee children aged 6 to 12 years. One of the projects is in the Gaza Strip in occupied Palestine, and the other is in Burj Barajna refugee camp in Beirut, Lebanon. Both of the programs supplement the education of Palestinian children suffering from mental health problems and denied a full-time education. The children of Gaza are suffering from a 16-year blockade imposed by Israel that's caused tremendous poverty and created one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. They've also been subjected to 5 military escalations by Israel since 2008. In Lebanon, a financial crisis since 2019 has seen the local currency lose 90% of its value, which has sharply increased the cost of food, transportation, and domestic fuel. For Palestinians already living in extreme poverty, these costs have become unbearable and have meant that many children have had to withdraw from school because their parents can't afford the transportation costs to send them to school. NIPSA's funding provides an opportunity for children in Gaza and Lebanon to receive an education when it otherwise would not be possible. So many, many thanks for your support. I want to finally pay tribute to Eamon McMahon, who, as you all know, died sadly last year, but did so much to raise the profile of the Palestinian cause in the trade union movement. Eamon set up Trade Union Friends of Palestine, and he led many trade union delegations to the occupied West Bank. He's greatly missed by the entire trade union movement and also his many friends in Palestine. Thank you very much.